Hi, in today's video, we are going to discuss about whatever the settings we want to make whenever we are working on the services in the Salesforce application. So as we all know, configuring and as well as making some required setups in the services and all everything are essentially required for any business analyst roles, especially at the same time, if we are moving on to the advanced level, administrator roles require these because this is maybe for the administration purpose or it can be relating to the platform or user interfaces and all. Required changes, required editings has to be done in the existing application so that application performance and as well as visibility of the application will be more effective. In this regard, so being a business analyst at the same time administrator roles are essentially important for them to understand and as well as making some editings and all everything in the service environment. In today's video, I am going to explain about the service setups which we want to make in the user interfaces. Because when it comes to the user interfaces for any application, this is something must be effective while we are working on the application because whatever the required objects or fields to be configured, right? So everything we have to be done for any application nowadays. So in this regards, as far as the user interface itself is concerned, so objects and fields are multiple because even it can be feed tracking or it can be object manager or it can be schema builder, right? So different objects and fields are there. At the same time, when we are creating user interfaces and all, whatever the kind of application managers we wants to have. At the same time, if you want to create any custom labels or if they want to create any kind of global actions to be performed, right? So if you want to create any kind of publisher layouts, these are all something essentially required. One has to understand from the user interfaces point of view. So in this user interfaces point of view, the first one about the feed tracking part, because feed tracking, yeah. So the feed tracking is one of the option which comes under the objects and fields when we are working on the application. So wherein it is always important for us to track the application, whatever the required changes to be made into the existing application and whatever the tracking to be made is what something which we have to be known with. That is something essentially required in this regard. So in this feed tracking, so if you want to perform any kind of feed tracking, all that stuff, it's always important for us to make some changes, whatever is needed and how is this to be needed and all everything, whatever the required editings to be done, right? So whatever we want to enable any kind of feed tracking and all everything, wherein we can select it, right? So that whenever we are enabling the field tracking, it's always important for us to track the progress of the activity of the accounts, what we are managing for a very long time. So that the kind of instances what we have created, followed by the kind of instances IDs, everything are comes under this category. This is where generally these field trackings and all everything are essentially important when we are working on the application. So make sure we need to enable it and we can save it so that either it can be relating to the application appointment category, right? For example, if you want to make any kind of appointment category or if you want to create any kind of application forms, right? So whatever you are selected, we have to make some changes subsequently. At the same time, when it comes to the object manager is also one of the core and important element whenever we are working on the application point of view, whenever we want to make any kind of changes in the user interfaces and all, object manager is also required. So in this object manager, if you want to create or if you want to create any kind of action plan for any of the services which we are about to be managed and all, so these services and as well as these changes can be made subsequently on the object manager as well. Because object manager is one of the core and important element wherein we need to know whatever the page layouts we want to create. For example, action plan for API is what something which we have taken wherein we need to enable it. Now, if you want to create any kind of page layouts for the existing application we are creating, so if you want to create any kind of action page layouts, action plan layouts, right? Or else if you want to make any kind of changes if you want to do, right? So if you want to make any kind of lightning record pages, if you want to make, or else if you want to do any kind of field settings, all these things can be done, especially when we are working on the user interfaces. So when we are working on user interface, these field settings or object limits or record types, at the same time lookup filters, page layouts, these are all detailed understanding which is essentially required when we are working on the user interface point of view. I'm talking about the user interface, which is one of the core and important element in context to the objects, fields, object manager, etc. Next is about schema builder. Schema builder is also one of the core and important element because building different schemas for the project, wherein by creating auto layouts are also one of the key and important element we need to create, right? So different schemas for the application we are developing, right? So this is how generally schema builders we create, because we need to create multiple schemas like databases and all, everything can be created. Whatever the changes we wants to make substantially, we have to make the changes here. This is what and how usually user interfaces, configurations and all, everything, being a business analyst as well as an admin person, which you have to be focused more on. This is all about this video. If you have any questions or if you have any queries, please reach out to the contact details, which will be posted in below to this video. Thank you.